Ladies and gentlemen, a Florida Democrat has been indicted and arrested. 5 felony counts by a grand jury. A federal grand jury has indicted a Florida man accused of spewing tweets against U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado. The man faces 5 counts of interstate felonies, according to the indictment filed on May 27th in the U.S. Southern District of Florida. Court records show he had his first appearance before a judge Friday. The indictment lists 5 tweets connected to the case, which are directed to the Republican Congresswoman, and they are, despicable tweets that go after and, I'm not going to explain exactly what the tweets say because it's against YouTube policies, but they're egregious enough to warrant 5 felony counts. Okay, so you have Representative Lauren Boebert, who has been targeted by a wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat, and where are the ladies at the View? Where's the condemnation? Where's the condemnation? Where's the judgment? Where's AOC talking about how words lead to, people's lives being lost? Where is the condemnation? There is no condemnation. And, I'm not even going to read you the tweets, but that is one of the reasons I left Twitter. And it's actually, I had a similar type, although not as, despicable in terms of, if you look at the writing, you can look, there's an article in a Fox 31, Colorado's very own KDVR.com, Florida man indicted over violent tweets towards Boebert. The messages themselves are absolutely despicable. But I had despicable messages leveled towards me, went to the police department, filed a police report using the Twitter handle, like the Twitter profile, and the police department or the police officer said, you know what you need to do, basically arm yourself, Second Amendment, protect yourself and your family. And that's what I did. And so that's what hopefully Representative Boebert has done as well, arm herself. But again, you have to do that. You have to arm yourself if you are a high-profile person. I'm not high-profile, thank goodness. But enough people know who I am, especially when I was on the left, to for some reason receive these types of messages on Twitter. What takes place on Twitter is that it is a bastion, a forum, a dystopian, nightmarish platform where up until recently, people on the left got away with pretty much anything. They could go ahead and say the most egregious, offensive, despicable, disgusting things, and they wouldn't oftentimes even break Twitter guidelines or protocols. They would never get banned. Only if there was enough conservative outrage would they ever be held to task. And then, of course, you had Twitter silencing and suppressing Hunter's emails at a very important time in American history just to benefit one political party. Twitter was a place where outrage, vitriol, negative sentiments were allowed to be manufactured and vented or channeled from Democrats towards Trump and anyone who supported President Trump. And even if you were on the left, if you weren't a vote blue no matter who type of person, they would go after you as well. So it's really like the left has to deal with this, the true, if you want to say quote unquote true left, or the left that doesn't vote blue no matter who, and of course conservatives and supporters of President Trump. Twitter, hopefully, under Elon Musk, will change. It won't be an echo chamber or an extension of the Democratic Party in the manner that the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and other publications are, and other cable stations. Okay, conservatives, or you could say Trump supporters, have one cable station, or actually 2. Okay, 2. Fox and Newsmax. Maybe 3 or 4, okay, but the morally superior liberal Democrats have the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, MSDNC, CNN, the New Yorker, New York Magazine, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone, Daily Beast, Vice, Mother Jones, The Nation, Los Angeles Times, every major publication. Then you have corporations in Florida and throughout the country. Then you have all of Hollywood. Then you have the music industry. And then you have Jimmy Kimmel, who basically works for the Democratic Party and is a comedian on the side or a talk show host. That's his secondary job. You have all of late night. You can't get away from liberal talking points or the mentality. You have people who actually think Tucker Carlson is a more deranged human being than the madmen and the maniacs and the most despicable monsters, the most insidious, the word is evil, monsters they commit these crimes against humanity. Like, you hear this phrase, you're a horrible human being. It's like, well, a human being, like politics or political viewpoints, is only a small portion, a very small portion of what a total human being is about. But to Democrats, it's like it's like their soul, their idea, their heart, their soul, it's their identity, it's who they are. And so that's why you're not going to get, if anyone goes after a high profile or, a representative, if female representatives on the left, you will get outrage, indignation. Oh my goodness, Trump's words. Well, do you think maybe the words of Democratic Congress people influenced this man that went after Representative Boebert? Do you think maybe that took place also? By the way, hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. I have very important segments right after this, or actually right before this. Very important segments. So please go ahead. And I'll have 3 segments on each of those channels today, along with about 4 segments on this channel. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen. And hit subscribe to all 3 channels that are below in the description section. My Patreon is in the description section. If you want to become a member, please do. And if you want to give a super thanks, the super thanks is below next to the like and the share button. But you look at, it's interesting too, if you are like Herschel Walker, for example, or Larry Elder, or Candace Owens, or any conservative who happens to be a conservative and a person of color, how do Clarence Thomas, how do Democrats view people who are conservative and people of color? How do Democrats view black conservatives, Latino conservatives, Asian Republicans and conservatives? How do Democrats view these people? Okay? When morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats talk about diversity, they don't talk about it in terms of thought or discourse, debate, discussion, differences of opinion. If you disagree, they will very likely disown a friendship. It's become so all-encompassing into the lives of many people on the left. This has now taken the place. Politics has taken the place of religion. That's why Trump is viewed in the manner he is. Donald Trump, whether he has character flaws or not, is never looked at in the same manner as mashed potato brains Joe Biden, who also has character flaws, by the way, or Hunter, who has likely numerous character flaws. Whenever you point out that a top Democratic official is disingenuous, duplicitous, a bad human being for doing this or that, Democrats will immediately say, they'll give you the rebuttal, well, it's politics, and I'm not voting for the human being, I'm voting for the policies. But not with Trump. With Trump, we had record low unemployment. He opposed the Lincoln Project, never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and wars and military interventions and Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld regime changes. That alone is more important in the hierarchy of policies and values. And that's more important to oppose that never-ending military conflict. More important than climate change or Supreme Court issues or anything. Far more important. Because it doesn't just affect the lives of Americans, it affects the lives of people in other countries as well. Okay, you could say climate change does, but it's like, all right, well, you need like a million different things to take place to truly combat and make a positive impact. Opposing, an intervention and toppling a government, if you can stop that from taking place, you've saved the lives immediately of thousands, tens of thousands or more. And so what Trump was able to do, he was the first president in modern history, I believe it was either in the past 20, 30 years, something like that. No, 40 years, even more than that, to have not started a new military intervention or a new military campaign. A new major military campaign. So Trump was a great president. First president to sign an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses, which is running rampant. You can read my Jerusalem Post op-ed below in the description, also in the pinned comment on why Democrats are okay with that or opposed to what Trump did on college campuses with the executive order. Trump allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, and made the funding permanent. You can look at Trump, hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. Wealth inequality was decreasing under Trump. You had all of these things, great economy, inflation was 2% or so? Gas prices were around $3. We have inflation now 8 to 9%. We had GDP growth with Trump until his last year when people like Andrew Cuomo were given an Emmy for tanking and absolutely destroying state economies. The Democrats did that gleefully, and now I have the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. I mean, Bitcoin, crypto, it's a bubble that's going to implode, which will also help expedite the implosion of the stock market, and the economy is going to collapse even further. The Lehman Brothers AIG moment, unfortunately, is going to take place, almost certainly going to take place. I talk about that in the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. So please go ahead and subscribe to those. They're in the description section right now. Tell your friends about those as well. I told everyone in September of 2021 that this was going to take place, that the economy was going to, decline, and we're heading towards a complete collapse in terms of the stock market, especially in terms of Bitcoin. Bitcoin will get to 10,000 or lower, unfortunately. Tether won't be around. Coinbase won't be around. Most cryptos won't be around. And that will obviously affect traditional markets. The NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, all will be far lower than they are now. Corporate profits will decline. Corporations will lay off people, like we're seeing with Tesla, 10,000 workers. I mean, this is what happens when Democrats, that the old VHS tapes of Democrats, they shouldn't do one. Democrats run wild. Democrats run wild. And then you could see shut down the cuts too soon. It's too soon to open up. Too soon. Experts say we must continue to keep the economy, non-existent. And so $10 trillion in fiscal and monetary stimulus were pumped into the economy. And how do I get to this and then that's why we have the inflation we have, in addition to the fact that supply and demand charts were completely obliterated. You end economic activity because experts and bureaucrats and unelected officials and multinational organizations say you should, and Democrats are more than willing to do so to kick Trump out of office. Has nothing to do with saving anybody. I mean, they had a primary in Wisconsin where there was hail and like rainstorms, and people were waiting outside. This was at the height of what. Okay, so but you couldn't go to a restaurant. Okay, but Andrew Cuomo got an Emmy, so that can also be part of Democrats Gone Wild, the VHS tape. And you look, they pushed to end economic activity gleefully. Then they blamed corporations for inflation. when they're the ones who obliterated supply and demand charts and supply and demand projections, and, then opened up the economy, then demand for fossil fuels went through the roof. You have oil at 120, 110, always at 110 to 120. GDP declining. First quarter declined 1.4%. And then you have the crypto scene completely just, there's a sword of Damocles hanging over the crypto world and also the stock market and the economy. So three, or, two sword of Damocles is above each. And we have a potential bubble in real estate and the bond market. So it's an everything bubble for all, equities, crypto, real estate, bonds. What do you think happens? The normal state of affairs, Democrats completely upended 2 years ago. And now they're focused on everything but economic growth. They've completely wasted their time in the House. They've done absolutely nothing to make the economy or the country better. To the contrary, our standing in the world is like a joke now. They said that Trump, people were laughing at us. Go and watch the reaction of German diplomats in the United Nations when Trump told them they're going to be beholden to Russian oil and gas. Go and watch their reaction, and go and watch the tweet from, I forgot what publication. Of course, everyone in the comment in the thread was, oh yeah, the whole world's laughing at us. And it's like, no, Trump was right yet again. Yet again, he was right. Literally telling German officials exactly what would take place. Then Biden removes sanctions on Nord Stream 2. Then he wonders why you-know-who invaded, and he's not doing anything about that. Except sending $40 billion, but we don't have money here for things. But anyway, that's another story. Trump Republicans will take over the House and Senate. It'll be a completely different ball game. Twitter will be run by Elon Musk. Democrats will not have the most important social media platform to silence and debate criticism and stories from the New York Post and other publications that highlight their immense corruption. Things are going to be very, very different, ladies and gentlemen. And thank God for that. Hit subscribe to this channel. Have a great Sunday. I'll be back in about 2 hours, people. And, God bless Representative Boebert and her family, and I hope they're safe. And I'm pretty sure they've armed themselves and done exactly what the police have told them, as I've done what the police have told me. And the Second Amendment, by the way, exists so you can protect yourself from absolute lunatics. That's really quickly, Democrats, the way they view tragedy is ban this. We'll just go ahead and ban. Yeah, ban this and ban that. Yeah. Don't you realize that this inanimate object is really the problem? It's not the absolute, depraved monster who will stop at nothing and society doesn't know why, which is peculiar how nobody in media wants to find out why these things happen within certain individuals, within the human mind. How can the human mind become such a monstrous, barbaric, inhumane, how can it become all those things? What happens to the spirit and the soul of a human being that descends into that madness? And to allow them to commit these crimes against humanity. But Democrats don't want to talk about that. Are you kidding me? They want to ban. Yeah, erase the Second Amendment. Erase it. Just completely erase it. Just take an eraser. See? No more euphemism problem. See, they say, well, firearm violence. Well, if you remove the firearm, there's no violence. See how it works, the semantics? And it's all about semantics and words and definitions and euphemisms, and they just have a good time getting into these twisted contortions in terms of logic and reason and words and meaning and definitions. And it's like, no, pretty sure that criminals don't care about laws. Pretty sure that most crimes are with illegally obtained. And so, anyway, we have rights in this country in the Constitution. So honest, good citizens, law-abiding citizens can protect themselves from people who don't care about laws. Democrats think criminals care about laws, and that's the biggest problem we face in terms of protecting the most innocent among us. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm going to start, doing segments every day at 8. So just set your dials to 8 p.m. every single day. I'll do a segment every single day at 8 p.m., people. To my 8 p.m. crowd, you're wonderful. You're one of the most positive, beautiful comment sections that I have, and I have the best comment section in all of YouTube. And I'm very blessed. I thank God for that. People who watch this channel are just wonderful human beings, and I thank you. But every day at 8 p.m., to my 21-minute crowd, be here. 8 p.m. Pacific, so so that'll be, whatever your time. But 8 p.m., 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m., I'll have a segment every single day. And then on throughout the day. Hit subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much. And I'll be back in 2 hours or so. Go to the stock market crash and the Bitcoin crash channels right now.